Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for the latest episode of South Park, Super Hard PCness, and I really liked what they did with this episode and really enjoyed everything that they did here. There's very few spots where I wasn't laughing or grinning at what was going on. They did a really fantastic job of having Kyle's whole story be very well done and doing callbacks to the South Park movie, and also integrating PC Principal's side story into his, but doing its own funny jokes, so to where it didn't feel like it was detracting from Kyle's in any way, but it was like, oh, we're back here with PC Principal, let's see what crazy thing that they start doing with this. So, the episode starts off, and we're at Netflix, and we see that Terrence and Philip are pitching a new show, which is just like the old show, except they're way older now, and they're just still doing the same kind of fart jokes, pitching it to the Netflix dude. He's like, well, we've got 16 Netflix originals that we did previously, and now for this year we're planning on doing 1,087. It's like, huh, alright, just gonna go with the shotgun approach there, alright. So, it's funny seeing Terrence and Philip just go through the long, awkward pauses of like, first, we'll be on a farm, and there'll be a cow. And I'll fart on him, you'll fart on me, and then he will fart on the cow. And just, it was, the pacing of it was very well done, and I just really liked how they kept that going throughout the whole episode. Whenever we come back in with Terrence and Philip, them doing the whole show for Netflix, seeing Philip get up on a ladder, them doing the same kind of stuff, just slower in the whole show. It's just a different kind of take and dimension on what we've seen with Terrence and Phil. So we then get to the school and we see Stan's at his locker, and then all the kids start doing this hubbub, getting everybody together, and Stan's like, what's going on? He's like, Cartman and Heidi are fighting again. And we're like, okay, how's this gonna go? So we go and we see them all ringing around, and we see Cartman and Heidi having a fist fight. Like, no holds barred kind of shit, where they're actually just trying to take each other out. It's not a big giant fight like we've seen previously, but it's just a different kind of way that their fights have escalated Cartman style. So we're trying to figure out what's going on. Cartman's like, God damn it, and she's calling him a piece of shit, and Cartman's just like, I just want to watch Terrence and Phillips with my friends. And she's like, you promised that we'd have a date night. And it's like, it's only one night. It's Stan's viewing party. And she's like, why can't I come? It's a guy's thing. And Kyle's comes in to try and stop the fight. He's like, oh, come on, what's everybody doing? And Heidi's like, watching Heidi get her bitch ass kicked. And Heidi's like, fuck you, Wendy. It's like, the girls have completely turned against Heidi. It's amazing because it's at this point more antagonistic than the guys against Cartman. The guys have just accepted that Cartman is part of the group, no matter what. He's ingrained himself into the group to such a point that it would be very difficult for them to, remove him. It would almost be more trouble than it's worth. The girls, on the other hand, are like, fuck you, we hate Cartman, and we hate you. It's like, whoa. So, they're just trying to, get through to it, and they're like, trying to egg them on, don't take that crap, Heidi, and let Cartman have it. And Kyle just brings up, he's like, why don't we just stop being so mean to each other? And Heidi's like, shut up, Kyle, you sound like your mom. And everybody starts laughing on it, and Cartman's like, oh, you're awesome, baby. And they hold hands, they just love you, they made up pretty much in their mutual bashing of Kyle. And Butter's like, it's all over, Kyle ruined the fight. And Kyle's just like, what the hell? And that mom joke just keeps going out through the episode, and it could have gotten tiring, but it doesn't, because they keep messing with it on people calling Kyle his mom, and Kyle kind of transforming into his mom. So, we get to PC Principal. He's addressing the gym full of the students. He's talking about how there's been bullying and sensitivity, and desperate need of a strong woman to kind of counteract that and be a role model. So, here's our new vice principal. Powerful, intelligent, independent female, role model and all that. And what's her name? Strong woman. I love South Park sometimes. It's just, we also get in later on another good one. But she's like introducing herself. We see Butters is talking to someone. PC principal grabs the mic, starts like yelling at him, and Strongman's like, why'd you have to grab the mic out of my hand like that? And then we start this really interesting running joke with PC principal trying to be PC, but not trying to be un-PC. That balancing act. And that creates some really funny situations like this one, where she's trying to get her points across and everything, but PC principal keeps kind of like interrupting her to kind of try and, I don't know, just make sure that the point's getting across and that people are listening to her and he's showing his support to her, but it's almost kind of undermining her in certain situations, echoing her, and she's saying, oh, I couldn't get that point across myself. And it's like, no. I was just trying to echo it just to make sure that everybody heard and all that. So he just keeps apologizing until we get to the end of it. And then we get to Terrence and Philip's show. And they're doing their farting and everything on each other. Everybody's laughing except Kyle. Hear the doorbell ring. Cartman and Heidi come in. And they keep their joke coming, saying that I didn't know Kyle's mom was going to be here, saying, shouldn't she be at Temple? And just, oh my God. She has turned into such a perfect Cartman. I didn't know that we could get another Cartman character and what implications it would have. Because in my mind, the whole kind of breakdown that we start seeing with Kyle in this episode is that I don't think he can truly reconcile the fact that there can be two Eric Cartmans at one time in a world. Now, granted, that would probably break a universe or two, because two Cartmans is a bitch to handle. And seeing him try to deal with it is just gold. So the show keeps going on. They're laughing at it. And Stan's like, what's wrong, dude? And he says, you know what, for the first time, I feel bad for the guy being farted on. And this starts at first empathy, but then starts going kind of further. And Heidi's like, oh, look, Kyle's mom doesn't like the show, doesn't like the cartoon. Better shut it off. And everybody's laughing, and Cartman just goes, oh, I love you, baby. So then we switch to the school. We see PC principal with a staff meeting saying, all right, we've got new vice principal, couldn't be happier. Introduced her, lets her talk about everything, saying, you know what, you could just call me vice principal's woman and all that. And as this is going on, we hear Hootie and the Blowfish going on. And PC principal's looking at her, seeing hearts and everything like that. And it's really funny because at first we think we're the only ones hearing it. Then it pops up, and Mr. Mackey's like, excuse me, does anybody else hear Hootie and the Blowfish, like, really softly playing? And then someone else is like, says, yeah, I'm hearing it too. What's kind of going on? And Strongman's like, I think it's coming from over here. And she starts making her way towards PC principal. He's like, excuse me, I gotta go to the restroom. And he bolts to the door, goes out, and that's when the music stops. And at first, I thought they were gonna go, okay, maybe it was coming. I thought South Park was gonna go, oh, it's probably coming from his penis or whatnot. But we find out later on that that's not the case. We then get to recess and Kyle looking at the phone, watching older episodes of Terrence and Philip, and just seeing him kind of more empathize with the people that are being farted on. And it's kind of cool because it's like these past episodes in clip form, and just seeing him thinking about what's going on. Him going back home and changing himself, taking off the Terrence and Philip t-shirt, putting on a just plain t-shirt, cutting his hair, and feeling more comfortable with himself, evidently, while this music's going on in the background, saying that you don't like duty jokes anymore, time to get rid of that stuff and all that, and we're just, okay, where's this gonna go? So we then transfer to PC principal in the doctor's office, and Hootie and the Blowfish is going full force. And he then puts his hands to his ears and muffles it, and he just keeps kind of like messing with me, like, what the fuck is going on? So the doctor comes in, and he's like, alright, what's the problem? He's like, I got this kind of persistent ringing in my ears. Can you describe it to me? He's like, Hootie and the Blowfish. And he's like, well, see, there's this new woman in our faculty, and maybe set off some device in my ears. He's like, oh, there's no Hootie and the Blowfish in your ears. Maybe you got feelings for her. And he's like, that's impossible. It's workplace. I can't like her. There's got to be a device in my ears. And I'm like, well, I looked, and Hootie and the Blowfish is not in your ears. I believe it's coming from your mind and your heart. He's like, oh, dude, bro. So we've got this interesting situation going on. Just the way it's played and the timing of the jokes work pretty well throughout this episode. So we get to Vice Principal Strongwoman. Kyle goes in, and he's like, well, I want to offer some insight. I think the reason we've got such a culture of meanness is due to Terrence and Philip. And like the boys watched it, I laughed at it, and I just don't think it's right anymore. We need to open people's eyes. And she's like, bringing up the ridiculousness of this. You want to blame it on farts? And that's ridiculous. And it's a slippery slope. Why would... It's just another thing to point our fingers at for our own shortcomings. And, of course, echoing in the movie, Kyle trying to get everybody to accept personal responsibility for what's going on, which Kyle doesn't... can't seem to wrap his head around in this episode at this moment. So, he storms out, thinking that she would be the one to agree with him and help him with this, but he's going out through the hall as we hear the intercom, Cartman going over, attention, Ms. Broslovsky, your tampons are available at the front desk, thank you, laughing, everybody else is laughing too. Heidi's like, oh babe, we gotta leave, we gotta get out of here now, and Kyle just looks pissed off, so this is just further entrenching him into this position of trying to get rid of Terrence and Philip. I just seen him connect it with the South Park movie and just kind of do a different kind of spin on it. Same kind of concept, but just for today's environment, just really works pretty well. So we then get back to the PC principal, Hootie and the Blowfish, blasting in his head kind of on the desk, head in hands kind of thing, and Mackey's like, you wanted to see me? And then the music cuts off, and it's like, alright, I just kind of want to ask you how Strong Woman's doing. His kids responding to her, and they're liking her pretty well. And he goes, do you know if she's available or not? And he's like, dude, are you out of your fucking mind? You can't do that shit. Oh my god. And PC Principal's like, just going into it, trying to say, I need to know so that way I can get my head off of her. I don't know how to get myself out of this space. And Mackey's just like, oh god, we got real fucking fire you're playing with, man. We gotta get something down here from HR. And he's like, and PC Principals goes, oh, Hootie removal? No, human resources. just that little kind of thing that they did with Hootie removal and human resources was just, I liked it. It was just one that I wasn't expecting, and then when I heard it, I'm like, oh, that was a good one. And Mackey's like, we gotta get you back on the level. We gotta get you back on track. So we switched to a special report, got a reporter, and like, is Canada a bad influence on the U.S.? And a group of young people, millennials against Canada, echoing moms against Canada in the South Park movie, have come to blame Canada for most of our problems, saying the culture originates from there, and partly they blame for the state now. And just seeing Kyle go further and further is just kind of great, because he's usually the one that's the most level-headed. I'm intrigued to see who's going to be the one to kind of like snap him out of it, because I mean, we get to the end of the episode and he seems kind of horrified at what's going on, but kind of how this situation is going to wrap up. So Kyle pretty much gets into a fight with the Canadian Minister of Streaming, and they're just kind of like, oh, you're pissed off because your country sucks. And you're just pointing fingers at us. And Kyle's like, we're all guilty too. Grew up watching Terrence and Philip. I thought it was funny. No, it's never funny. Oh, so you want to censor it? I just want to get rid of it. And the Canadian dude's like, you're sounding like a Jewish mom. And when you got people outside of the whole kind of South Park situation pretty much saying that Kyle is Kyle's mom, it's just crazy. And then it's just see him get into a fight, the Canadian dude calling him racist because he's calling him Canadian trash, and just seeing him get into a drag-out fight. And he just, Oh, God. Just, if you got a problem with Canada, talk to your backwards president. He's like, maybe I will. Yeah, and then, he's just going, let me finish, let me finish. And we get to the end of it, and yeah, I'm finished. And it's, that fight was just really well done. So we get back to PC Principal at another meeting, and he's trying to be, alright, we're trying to make sure that we have a safe work environment. Some people have gotten feelings, tempted by the devil to act on them, so we reached out to the HR division. Tell us what is and isn't misconduct, and I'd like you to welcome Heather Conduct. Go ahead, Misconduct. And first, great name. And then we find out that she's like Mackie. She's the Mackie from the HR division. And, of course, Counselor Mackie is like, oh, okay, she's kind of cool. Bring it up, alright, we're trying to figure out inappropriate feelings and all that. And she asked, has anybody else had inappropriate feelings for anybody? And Strong Woman raises her hand. PC Principal like, shut up. Whoa. So we get back to the Terrence and Phillip show. They're doing their stuff. One of them's like, oh, I think I shit my pants. And that's when Kyle comes in with his Millennials Against Canada, saying we're shutting it down, and stop your bullying entertainment. And, of course, Terrence and Phillip are like, I didn't think we'd live long enough to see this happen again. And I just love those little kind of jokes put out throughout there. So we get to another breaking news, making fun of the Millennials turning into Jewish mothers because they're demanding censorship and their demand to speak with the president, and of course, come in with a phone. He's like, hey, Kyle, you got a phone call. And he picks it up, and it's Stan, and he's like, Kyle, what the fuck are you doing? And Kyle's like, I'm making a stand. We've got to do something. We've got to, and I don't care if that doesn't gel with your nihilism. And Stan's like, I really didn't want to say it, but you're sounding like your mom. And Kyle's like, I am not like my mom. I want to make a difference and feel good. I'm going to feel real good about it. And Tweets just gets on the phone. You can't mess with this shit. With you know who in the office. We're all going to die. So we get back to the school, and Misconduct is doing a role playing for what's appropriate to talk. So who does he get to volunteer? Mr. Mackey. So they're talking. Mr. Mackey is really kind of nervous. They get through their thing. He's like, oh, I'm being really honest. And Misconduct is, oh, I believe you. You seem like you have honest eyes. She goes for it. Says, like, that last part was me stepping over the line, all right. That's kind of bad. Not really appropriate. So they get into more of a nitty-gritty, asking him how he deals with his students. He name drops someone that she did her thesis on, and they really start hitting it off. And it was kind of cool seeing them kind of have a kind of pretty cool conversation about what they do. And seeing the rest of the people like, do we still need to kind of be here? Is this really still kind of role-playing? What are we learning from this? I don't know. That there can be work-appropriate conversations. That people can have mutual feelings and not be assholes to each other. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. So we then switch over to the Canadian Minister of Streaming going to the White House, pretty much trying to get Garrison to do something. You got to do something about your millennials. And Garrison's like, what do you want me to do? And the Canadian minister goes to say that Terrence and Phillip is like 80% of their gross national product. And that makes sense. And why they wouldn't want their pretty primo export to be screwed over. But there's a thing called diversifying. I just found it funny that they went, yeah, it's 80% of our gross national product. That's a bad situation to be in. So, you gotta do something. He's like, I can't get into every little protest against a third world country. The Canadian minister goes, we're at least second. We're at least second, man. And pretty much puts down the gauntlet. If you don't do something, we're going to send Canadian troops to protect our interests. So we then get back to Mackie and Misconduct doing their thing, having a good time, and then a military alert goes on. Dudes, He goes, oh God, there's a military alert going on. So Precy Principal goes, we need to get in the hallway, we need to get everybody to the gym. Go, go, go. So we get back to the Terrence and Phillips show place. The dude's like, there's the National Guard outside. And Kyle's like, goes, like, what's going on? He gets a phone call from the president. The president's going, okay, looky here. Things are escalating. I need you to call it quits. You can't. Why? What do you want? I want a world, laughter at not other people's expenses. Free to live without fear of being farted on. Aren't ridiculed for trying to help. Our nice girl that I liked isn't turned into another Eric Cartman. That's kind of where we're getting into the crux. A great thing that they've done on this show is to kind of show a spotlight on how negativity can just kind of like spiral out of control and kind of become a beast unto itself. Whereas Kyle is trying to stop some certain things and try and just calm everything down to certain situations where it just kind of becomes a beast unto itself, where Troll's just egging on this kind of like negative feedback loop to where even a person trying to help gets into their own kind of negative tailspin and spirals it out to the point where pretty much threatening war against Canada again. And the crux of the problem is he liked this girl and she turned into another Cartman. He can't reconcile the fact that there's one Cartman in the world, and that two, he's got a girlfriend, and three, that he has turned that girlfriend into another Eric Cartman, thereby doubling the kind of what Kyle would see as evil within the world. It broke him. Understandably so, which of course made him go to a kind of default place of pretty much becoming his mother. Crazy. So, in explaining it this way to him, he's going on, he's like, the Canadians are in the way, and they have to be, what they've done needs to be erased from the earth. And Garrison goes, geez, I got a little chub, and you would pretty much talk in Garrison's language. So we then get back to the students kind of like screaming, getting to the gym. PC Principal goes, I need to make sure that the classrooms are empty, and he wants Vice Principal to go with the kids, but she's like, no, I'm going to go with you. And we get to this funny ass part where they go up to a door, and PC Principal goes, I got to ask you a question. Can I open this door? You see this door? I would like to open this door for you. I understand that there's gender biases implied with that. Hold it like the same way that like Maggie or anyone else. So what do I do with this? He's trying to fight between being politically correct and being not politically correct. And then of course having another person involved in that just highlights it and just makes it pretty funny. So they both reach for the door at the same time, touch hands. They both pretty much, I'm saying that they both heard the Hootie and the Blowfish looking at each other and just kind of had this moment of connection. And just taking off his glasses and her having a little smile and them just kind of like staring at each other. Now that's where the episode ends, on their note of them looking at each other and kind of being like, yeah, this is kind of alright. Whereas at the other parts, we start seeing things getting completely and utterly out of hand. The kids are freaked out in the gym. We see Garrison taking a key, entering a passcode. We then hear to go to Canada, and we hear a bomb drop, and we see the explosion. See all the Canadians flying and just twirling around with the whole destruction of the city. We see Kyle looking what's going on the TV, horrified, understanding that he has pretty much done what his mother did in the movie. And I just can't wait to see where this goes, because this is a great setup for a two-parter. I just want to see how they're able to go through with Kyle pretty much turning into his mom, how he's going to try and rectify that, and to see what they do with the whole PC Principal situation, because I felt that they did a really good job developing that joke and that whole storyline and situation, and I just want to see where it kind of ends up and what happens if we are going to have Heidi Cartman in the next season, or if they're going to try and wrap it up at the end of this, because I gotta tell you, I didn't know where they were going to go with Cartman's relationship. I didn't think that they would do it with him creating another him. And they could just do so much to kind of end it in a weird, interesting way, and I'm just excited to see what happens next in the next episode. So, those are my opinions on the episode. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.